I know you all love that new intro. Oh my god, oh my god, it's so cool. Hi everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Can y'all hear me? Is this on? Hello. Good evening, everybody. G Keyman, hello. McD Poor, Chuck Soup, Sean Casey. Hi, guys. Hi. Elijah, Vector Potential. Hi, everybody. TN Lock Fun. Oh gosh, P Duffs is here. Hi. Lockpicking Poet. Hello, hello, hello. So, as you guys know, today is Monday, and this is when my normal Monday video comes out. But I wanted to do it live with you guys because you're all amazing, and I thought it would be fun to just, do my video. And then if there's anybody that has any comments or questions or disagreements or anything like that, we can discuss it at the end. For anybody that would watch later that might have a similar question or comment, concern, whatevs. So I thought it would be fun to kind of incorporate everything into one. So this isn't going to be a very long live stream, probably like maybe however long it takes, but probably take an hour-ish for us to do our thing and whatever. But yeah, so hi. Today, I see W3OY Ray popped in. Hello, and Canoe Pick, AJ. Hello. All right, welcome. Did I say hi to Humboldt Picker? I don't know if I did. Hi. Hello. So let's see, dropping in to say hi and be back later. Okay. Hello, I'll hit that like button and spam some of those heart reacts. Oh, thank you, Sean. Very nice of you. Very, very nice of you. So yeah, I set up a couple little things in the video to make it kind of cool. So we are going to be Locksport myth busting today. Locksport myth busting. That's right, people. So I know there are some things that we've talked about in previous live streams, in previous videos and things like that, that kind of touched on these subjects. And we even got into a couple of them, but I wanted to put them all in one video because I think that, there's a few things we should clear up, at least in my opinion. Now, this is all just my opinion, people. I'm, just me. So take it how you want. But I do think there are some things that are a bit that we make more important sounding than they truly are. You know what I mean? So we make them seem like, I don't know, it's very important, but it's really not. So you guys know I have a couple of those that we talk about. And so, yeah, today I want to just kind of talk about why I don't think it's a big thing and see what you guys think. So the first thing I do think is a big Locksport myth, or maybe not just a myth, but it's just not important, is the picking direction. And when I say picking direction, I mean, are you picking front to back or are you picking back to front? I don't think that matters at all, because your binding pin is just going to be the binding pin, whether you are coming at it from the front going towards the back or the back going towards the front. So I see people asking about picking direction, and it just doesn't really matter. I think you can start wherever you want and pick whatever direction you want. You're going to find the binding pin. At the end of the day, it's going to be where it was in the first place. So it doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? So that's one Locksport myth, and I don't think anybody would argue with that one. I totally think that one is a given. So I don't think there's any arguments. I don't think chat would have any arguments with that either, because it just is what it is, right? Your binding pin's where it is. It's not going to change. Next thing I do think is kind of a Locksport myth would be the binding order. So when I say binding order, it's a thing. I'm not saying it's not a thing, because it is a thing. Binding order is real, but what do you do with the binding order? You just kind of know it, and that's about it. As far as, that's all I could think, right? You just kind of know what the binding order is. I guess you can kind of memorize it in each lock if you wanted to, but when you memorize things, when you're memorizing things from lock to lock, it's kind of doesn't help you to the next lock. You know what I mean? So if you're memorizing the order your pins are binding in one lock, it doesn't really help you on the next lock that you pick. So I say that it's not really a thing. It exists, but it's not really useful to us in any way. Now, I think people would argue with this one and say that they do memorize the binding order on their locks and things like that. But again, I just, in my opinion, think you shouldn't really bother with memorizing it, because then you're kind of just giving yourself a playbook to how to pick that lock. instead of picking it by exactly what you're feeling, which will help you on the next locks that you pick, right? Because everything that you feel and every little detail that you pick up is what helps you pick your next lock. Because that's what makes you be able to pick harder and harder locks, right? Because you have to learn all those little feelings and intricate feedback and things like that. So if you're memorizing binding order, you kind of know where to go next and you don't have to feel where to go next. I guess that's pretty much the, reason why I don't think that people should worry about that. Um, the next one that I want to talk about is key bidding. So the bidding of the key. And this one is a big one because we talked about this a couple of different times. And I still stand firm on I don't think the key bidding matters very much unless quite a few things kind of converge together in one lock that would make it really matter. I see a lot of posts on the or on the subreddit where people put up their padlocks or locks, whatever, and show the key and say, oh gosh, this is gonna be really tough. Look at that bidding. It's gonna be a tough one. And sometimes, yeah, I think it could matter if your lock has some, crazy warding and it's very tight, you can't get your pick in there and all this other stuff. But unless a bunch of those things kind of merge together, I don't think the bidding truly matters. So on a lot of locks, it really doesn't. And I just think that people get that in their head that it matters, and then they pick differently, or they're intimidated by a lock when they shouldn't be intimidated by it, or they're like, oh, this is going to be so hard, and it can really mess with your head. So I say don't look at the key, don't worry about the key, unless you're having like a lot of trouble, and then you can go back and take a look at it and see if there's anything that's maybe, something extreme with the bidding that could be causing you problems. But I think like we have talked about this, and I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that some newer pickers don't know the feedback of, hey, I need a longer hook. They don't know the feedback to telling them to get a longer hook because they just can't reach a pin to set it. So I think if once you figure that out, then I think it, definitely doesn't matter. Right, so we got some comment. Let me check in the comment section. Coxie's here. Hi, Coxie. How are you? Key bidding can be utilized to make some funky stage locks. All right. Yes, yes. Pete C says, talking so much sense. I appreciate it. Thank you, Pete. Protein, hello, hello. If you treat lockpicking as a puzzle, it stays fun. Indeed, it does. Indeed, it does. Hunted Coyote says, I've been picking since yesterday with a clear lock. I just got it. It won't work. Dummy, I'm a new picker. It's okay. It's okay. Those clear locks are more for demonstration purposes. So just for you to see what's going on in there. It's not really meant to be picked and picked and picked, so it can get destroyed pretty quickly. So I wouldn't get upset thinking you can't get it open, because it might just be in bad shape if you've been trying to pick it. My suggestion would be to get one of those like Walmart Brinks locks. They're super easy to pick, super great feedback, and play around with that one. Try to pick that one. You'd be way better off. They're only a few bucks. Or you can go up and at any hardware store and get one of those Master number 3 or Master number 1. Those are good to start out with. But those clear locks are more for just looking and seeing what's happening, not really, picking. Yeah. Oh, yep. See, Coxie says, ditch the clear plastic lock, get a Master 3. True, you won't be able to see what's happening, but you will feel what the lock is doing. Yes, yes. And that's kind of my point with the bidding. You should be able to feel what's going on and not really worry about the bidding, because sometimes you can actually look at the bidding and think something needs set pretty high, or you can force things and really have trouble picking. At the end of the day, you're making it a longer process than it needs to be. I think not until you get to about purple does it really start to matter on more locks, because these beginner locks have really wide open keyways and a lot of room in there. And even if the bidding is up and down and crazy, you can still fit your pick around everything and you don't have trouble hitting those pins. Like, it's not like it's going to cause you problems, because you can easily just fit a longer hook in there and pick whatever you got to pick, and you're not worried about warding and all that stuff that you would be on a more higher security locks. So yeah, on the beginner ones, I'd say, it's not really too much of a impairment. So I just don't think people should get thinking that the bidding is like this main thing on every lock that you have to, pay super attention to, because I just don't think you do. That's my opinion. Okay. The next thing I want to talk about is progressive pinning. Dun dun dun. Progressive pinning. Some people think that you are a big fat cheater if you do it. Okay. So don't be a cheater and don't be a loser and don't progressive pin your locks. Okay. And other people think that it's just a way to learn easier, which that's my opinion. I think it's just a way to learn things quicker, like way quicker. I mean, way quicker. Um, but I don't think you should do it for every single lock that you get and, have a little bit of trouble with. I think that you should really make a big effort to pick whatever locks in front of you. And if you're really going crazy and you're right about to throw it in the naughty bucket, I say then take it apart, progressively pin it, and see if you can figure out maybe if you miss something, or if you've never picked a certain pin type before, you can break it down, just pick one or two pins to see how they need picked. It's a nice way to kind of figure things out, right? Because if you have a new pin type that you've never picked before, if you've got a lock with 5 or 7 of them in there, it's gonna be a long time until you figure it out. It's gonna be a while, because 5 and you guys know you add 1 pin into the mix and, the lock just gets so extremely difficult again. Then you figure that out and you add another one and it's, like, so extremely difficult. So 1 pin can make just a mess. 1 pin can make a really really big difference. So if if you need to break it down and take it in smaller increments to learn it, I think that's a totally acceptable thing to do. I don't really think it's cheating, because you're just trying to learn. And that's what we're trying to do, is just learn things, right? So however you learn easier is what you do. And, if you want to progressively pin your lock, go right ahead. I don't think it's cheating. But, if you think it's cheating, by all means, do not do it, because then you'll be a cheater, right? But I think it's all whatever your opinion of it is. That's what I think it is. I think it's way too many people have this opinion of it, and way too many people have this opinion of it. So I think it's whatever, whatever. Welcome, Vlad and Paracentric. Hello, hello, hello. Progressive pinning is the best way to learn how each pin type or type of pin operates. Want to know how a spool works? Put a single spool in. Exactly. Exactly. I progressive pinned 1 lock, but it showed me where I was going wrong with high lift, which didn't need as much lift as I thought. Right, right, right. Yes. Yep, then you make 1 lock into 5 locks. That's another way to look at it, McD Poor. Definitely one way to look at it, because every time you add a pin, it just makes it crazier. It makes it crazier. And yes, smash that like button to support the channel. Be very nice of you. I asked the question of the chat, did you hit the like on the way in? So make sure you do hit the like on the way in. Let's see. And Coxie says he loves taking locks apart, especially when the pin is fly across the room. It's a fun game called Find the Spring. Yeah. Yes, that's I got I can't even get this thing off my drawer. I got this from 44 Delta that can find any spring a mile. Did you hear that click on the thing? That's how powerful he made these magnets in this thing. It is insane. Don't put it by your computers, folks. Not unless you want to erase them things. Yeah, that's insane. But yeah, that's great for finding pins and springs that are missing. You just kind of hold it across the room and they all go to it. Jeff and things, hello. I like progressive pinning, and that's what matters to me. Exactly. Exactly. You're all on your own journeys, right? We're all on our own little journeys here. All what you want to do and what you like to do and how you learn easier. Some people don't learn easier that way, but some people do. So you just have to do what's easiest for you. Did that with a goal, Z. Alright, yeah, yeah. Sometimes it helps, man, especially those ghosties, they're pretty wild. They are wild, so sometimes you have to take those because there's just a lot that's going on with those, and unless you really have done it before, it's really hard to do it the first time, you know? But yeah, I think if you do it on every single lock, like if you progressive pin your first 1100 and you got it open, then you got a second one and you were like, can't really figure this out. And then you do it again. Then you got a third one and you're just like, can't figure this one out. And you do it again. I think it's time to like just sit down and really learn it and not keep progressively pinning it, and just try to figure out what you're missing and learn it because it's just, it's tough. It's tough. Um, Stuck to the face of my safe. Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's awesome, GK. Yes. Yeah, you just stick it on there. I love that magnet of that thing. What about black belts back there? Let's see. Yeah, all those locks are crazy. All those locks are crazy. But yeah, I think it's fine if you want a progressive pen. I think it's just fine, just fine. And then I have one more that I think you guys might beat me up for. But I'm gonna say it anyway because I really don't care. That's my channel and it's my opinions. So I think we need to talk about full Tang picks versus half Tang picks. I do have to say. I do not think that that matters. I don't believe so. I don't believe it matters unless you have like maybe picks that are made of like a light wood or something where it would be, I don't know, moving around in there. I don't know. I don't think it matters. I think if it's attached properly to your pick handle, I don't think it matters um, if it's a full tang or not. I could not tell you ever once a single time where I even thought about it or felt a difference when I was picking anything. I never sat there picking and was like, "This pick must be half tank because 'cause I'm having troubles." Just never. Never, never, never. So, I don't think I've ever noticed nor cared. Um, but I see a lot of people going like, "Oh, well, is that pick full tang or half tang? Because if it's half tang, I'm not getting that or whatever." And I don't understand why because I don't think there is a single bit of difference. So yeah, that's my opinion on that. Especially in a pick that's very like has a really tight, hard handle, Like if if something's moving in there, yes, you definitely need I guess if it's not attached properly and it's moving around or moving at all inside of a handle, then yeah, I guess that full tang would keep it tighter in there because it wouldn't move so much back and forth. But if it's really, put into like a handle like the Jimmy Longs, okay, I wish anybody that said that could get two Jimmy Longs, one with half tang, one with full tang, and see if they could tell the difference. I say that. I say that. Half size picks for stage use. However, I personally prefer full tank for the bench. When you say like half size picks for stage use and full tank for the bench, do you mean like you have to have a pick that has the metal goes the entire way down the handle? Like your entire pick has to go the entire way down the handle? That has to be what you have to pick with? Or do you just mean you would like full size pick? Yeah, because I don't feel anything down here when I'm picking at all. Like, I just don't. And so I guess it depends on your style of picking. Because if you do feel stuff back there and that's a lot of if you rest your pick back here and you get feedback back here, maybe, I guess, then I guess maybe you could feel things, but I just don't. I just don't. Um I don't mind tiny picks that are just the neck. Sometimes I work in spaces that don't fit a regular size pick or even a half size pick. Mr. Inferno, God love you. I couldn't do it. I think full tang really only makes a difference if to the feelings of the end user if it's a well-made pick. Yes, yes. Um Wall lock tools, all metal pick, no plastic handle. Right, right. Yeah, so that's pretty much like a full everything. There's the complete piece of metal. Um, yeah. Yeah, I guess, since I don't pick that way and I don't pick that way, I say it doesn't matter. I don't think it matters all that much either. Um, I don't think that a lot of feedback comes from that spot on your hand that you could, make it so that you couldn't open a lock if you didn't have it. Um, in my videos, I use the CI Genesis set. As that is what most people have, and I want them to be able to recreate what I'm doing and not question if my luck picks with the magic. Right, right, right. Chuck Soup says, seeing as I have only used popsicle handle picks, I do not know either way. Yeah. Yeah, so I have big hands and longer fingers. Tang doesn't matter, but handle length does. Yeah. Yeah, I could totally see that. I could totally see that. But yeah, that's just my opinions on some of the things that we kind of hear about and see on kind of posts and things like that in Locksport. And I sometimes just laugh at some of the stuff because I'm like, oh my gosh, that doesn't really matter at the end of the day. But everybody's different. We all have our different methods of how we pick things, different methods of how we um, take in feedback, and how we decide how to open a lock, you know? And an open's an open at the end of the day. So I think it doesn't really matter. Doesn't really make a difference one way or another on a lot of this stuff. And I don't I hate to see the only thing I really hate is when people do feel intimidated by, you know, um, some of that stuff like key bidding and oh my gosh, what direction should I be picking in and things like that. I just think that personally, I'm gonna make a conscious effort not to make so much of a big deal out of the bidding of the key in every single video I do, because I know that that can contribute to people thinking that it's a big deal. You know, I sit there and go, and this is the bidding of the key. Or I'll be like, oh, check out this bidding. That's pretty crazy, or whatever, and I make it a big point to show it on every video I do of lock picking, but I never go but it doesn't really make a difference in this lock because of this. I never explain anything, so I think people watch it and go, "Oh, that must matter." Jeff says, "I think overall handle size matters more. I learned that with wallet tools, which sucks. Full size handles make learning easier and less fatiguing for me." Yes, I could see the fatiguing being an issue. And Chuck Soup says, find it some locks are easier for me to pick front to back, yet some are easier to pick back to front. I agree. I agree. I agree. I think it just, um, I think it really is just whatever you want to do when you're picking as far as the direction, you know. And McDeepore says, I don't pick for a quick open, so the longer it takes, the longer I enjoy the lock. Yep, there you go. That's why I think LPL goes he goes from the front to the back, and then he stops, and he goes back out to the front, and he picks front to back again, and then he comes back out to the front, and he picks front to back again, and I think that he does that for time, like, efficiency or whatever you wanna call it, so that he makes it longer for him to open that lock. But, he can have that time for explaining things while he's explaining things in his video and things like that. Because if he just went in there and picked it like, how we do it just however you go, I think he'd have them open, like, very much quicker than gets them open. So I think that's why he does that, is just to kind of make it last a little bit longer and so that he can explain things a little bit more, while he's picking. So I think, yeah, making it, take longer. That you could do that, McDeepore. Just keep going back out to the front towards the back. Yeah, he has to drag it out to make the videos longer than 30 seconds. That is so true. That's so true. I find myself, I'll go to make a video and I can never decide if I wanna do it in a short or in a long video because it'll take longer than a short, but shorter than a long. So now that I think they have 30 or 3-minute shorts now. So I'm thinking of putting them on there because I think that'll be like the best amount of time. It's just sometimes just too quickly and then the video's stupid because it's so fast and people are like, "What the heck?" Yeah, 3-minute shorts, yep. Uh AJ, that's very true. That's very true. And Tucker says, I consider keeping useless in a way. Locksmiths don't get to see the bidding. Also, you pick by feel, not by memory. Yeah, yeah. That pretty much sums it up. Yeah. I mean, granted, I think it's useless to us to look at it because we're trying to just pick a lock open. And if you're looking at the key, you're kind of getting hints anyways as to what you're up against. So I think that looking at the key ahead of time's like a little bit of cheating anyway, because yeah, locksmiths don't get to see the key sometimes and they don't get to see the bidding and we're supposed to be blind picking locks. And so blind picking would be like you don't really see the key, so if you're looking at it and taking that in and really paying attention to it, then going to pick the lock, it's a little bit of like you have a little hint. So yeah, that's the same Chuck Soup. I have so many locks with no keys. It's like it's funny because I I used to think of a lock as useless if it had the key or if it didn't have the key, right? So if somebody had a lock with no key, I'd be like, "That's trash, whatever, throw it away." Like, why do you have that? Now I think of like when I see the keys, I think that's useless. Why do you have that? Instead of seeing but now when just see the key, I think that's useless. I'm like, whatever. We don't need that. We don't need no key. Mr. Inferno, I've never gotten to see the key to any lock I had to pick. If I did, I would have just cut a new one. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly it. So that's why I feel like, we should even when I have the keys to them, I make it a point not to really take in what I'm seeing. I've really make it a point not to think, "Oh, don't forget about there's a high lift on number 3." I try to like show it if I'm showing it in a video and then set it aside and, do my thing, but yeah, all the lotto locks from work before you started picking. Go, gosh, a bunch of us think that. I think to myself all the time, all the locks I've thrown away and all the locks that, yeah. A lot of us have that. Chris Gipune. Hello, Chris. Hi. Hi, how are ya? Hi, how are ya? Humboldt says used to have a ton of lottos also. Yeah, yeah. Tossed them. Yeah, it makes us sad now that we are. Um, Now that we are lockpicking, it does make you sad to have gotten rid of all of those. But yeah, other than that, I think that pretty much, the bidding doesn't really come into play. Or even if even if you know the bidding, you shouldn't really pay attention to it. I agree. I agree. So even if you see it, you should pretend you didn't see it. But yeah, those are my Locksport myths. And I just thought I'd put that out there because there's a lot of people that think things are important and kind of more important than I think they truly are. I think mostly we should pay attention to tensioning the locks. That should be what people get most worried about is how they're tensioning because that's a big deal when picking and we got to make some more videos about tensioning. Yes, Coxie's got a bounce. He says, "Stay safe, everyone, and have a great Christmas." Thank you for popping in, Coxie. Um, yeah, yes. But yeah, that was it, guys. I thank you guys for hanging out with me for my video. That is my Monday's video. That's the Locksport myths that we just have busted. We busted those Locksport myths. So thank you all so very much for coming to hang out with me for a little while. I am going to go live on Vertical later and pick some locks. I've got a little bit of little project I want to do. So if you guys want to join me there later, that would be great. So I will see you guys all hopefully later on. Smooches to you all, and I'll see you later.